2000, D1, baby.
Exactly. He used to be a running back. You know what I'm saying?
Back.
I hear about it all the time.
You know what I mean?
Current professor at Norfolk State as well. He connected us with our first intern at Norfolk State. We had our intern program last year. It went really well. And so we're always, if you looked at the front door, young man wearing a Marching the More shirt, that's my younger cousin. We always trying to inspire young minds to go out there and figure out a way to prosper. You know.
Let's go ahead and get started.
All right, sweet. That's what I said.
There we go.
All right, sweet. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Welcome to our home buying workshop, guys.
Let me set that up here.
Yeah, right. The person in the back is doing that, but we are recording right now. Okay. All right, cool. Welcome to our home buying workshop, guys. I apologize about the technical difficulties that we've been having. If you have those pens and those papers, be sure to take notes. You're going to have 5 different professionals coming up here, and each one of them is going to drop jewels in different ways. I don't even know what it is, so I'll be sure to be taking notes as well. How many of you in here are tired of your neighbors? Raise your hand if you got a noisy neighbor or somebody in your neighborhood you don't like. All right, we got 2 in there. How many of you are tired of rent hikes, rent going up every year? Are you guys experiencing that? No? All right, well, know that it is happening out there, and if it hasn't affected you yet, it may. How many of you would like to leave a legacy for your family? Okay, we got some legacy builders. Legacy builders, nice. And that touches home for everybody, right? So that's great. So this is why we have this home buying workshop, because we'd like to empower you guys to achieve some of these goals. And real estate is the perfect vehicle. So today, we'll be telling you a little bit about us as the Marching to More team and our group of professionals that we have here.
We're going to talk about managing your emotions when you purchase your first home.
All right, we're going to be talking to you about why it's a benefit to buy versus renting.
We're going to talk about down payments, down payment assistance as well.
We'll tell you about the home buying process and every step of the way from the down payment to the closing costs.
And then we're going to see what happens when you actually close. Then what do you do now?
Exactly. And then at the end, we'll make sure that you guys have multiple ways to contact us. There will be a QR code on the screen. You can contact us there. Inside of each bag, you're going to have a ticket with a QR code in it. You can utilize that to contact us. And I believe that all of our professionals has put their business card in there. If they have not, go out there, shake somebody's hand, and make a connection. Pastor G, can we get the slides on the screen? Nice. We're on slide 3. All right, so we are the Marching to More team. We've been established since 2018. That's when I first started the Marching to More team. We're
all about more giving, more prosperity, and more community.
All right, we believe that if we give our community proper information and knowledge around real estate and real estate investing, we can empower that community to become more financially literate, which is what I lacked in that beginning story, right? And then with that, we're going to allow you guys to prosper in the now and then for generations to come, okay? So I am, next slide, Donovan D. McFadden. I gave you guys my story. Prior Navy veteran, transplant from the West Coast, landed here in our beautiful Hampton Roads, 7 cities. And I'm just interested in helping the community, each family, just learning more.
Roger Lee. I'm actually from Virginia Beach. I went to Norfolk State University. One more time, let everybody know I'm a Spartan. Behold, the green end. Gold. Here we go. I have been personally purchasing and selling homes since 2001. I currently own 2 homes right now, and I'm beginning my generational wealth for my 2 daughters.
All right. So in the back we have, if you can stand up, Miss Iris Nance. Sweet. Iris Nance, she is our Farmers Insurance. She'll be coming up here in just a moment to tell you a little bit about her services and products. What she does is she helps you protect your assets, okay? So she's going to be making sure that after you guys get these winning assets, that you can keep them for generations to come. We also have with us Christina Cicero of Atlantic Coast Mortgage. There we are.
She is.
Exactly. Christina is here to walk beside you. She works directly with our team on helping us figure out what your purchasing power will be. So if you want to buy that beautiful home, how much will you qualify for? What is your interest rate going to be? And what's the proper type of loan for you to use? She's going to be discussing that with us today. And then finally, we've got Dwayne Jenkins, not Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Looks like him, though. Hey, Dwayne Jenkins. He works with Credit Condo, and he's going to help us, boom, kick your credit into gear. All right?
All right, so the first thing we got to do is manage your stress. The idea of purchasing a home can be overwhelming. So the first thing we want to do is make sure you do the first step, and that's to show up and speak to a qualified agent like us. Okay. So congratulations, you made it out here. Everybody that's online, congratulations, glad you made it. What else are you afraid for?
All right, so we find that often first-time home buyers are stressed about liability. So that's why we make sure that we partner you with the proper insurance companies and things like that to protect you throughout the process. We find that people become fatigued from searching for a home, all right? So in 2020, who was looking and paying attention to the real estate market in 2020 and 2021? Raise your hand. All right, that market was crazy. I will tell you that. I've probably shown multiple clients 20 to 30 houses, and I've probably written 6 to 7 offers with each of those clients. I say that not to get you down, but to let you know that our team is going to be there with you the entire step of the way, regardless of how hard it is. A lot of people will get fatigued. We're here to keep you motivated and energized throughout that process. All right. We find that people are also afraid of failure.
Yeah, because ultimately what happens is if you don't put an offer on a house, right, you're always going to lose. What did Michael Jordan sit there and say? You're going to lose you get 0% of the shots that you don't make, right? So ultimately what we want to do is we want to put ourselves out there, put our best offer up front, and we'll coach you on how to do that, and then we'll execute it the proper way. So even if you do it right and you fall in love with the house, I never get emotionally connected with that particular house because there are other offers that are out there, and we may not get picked. But that's not the end of the day, okay? That's not the objective is to actually get you into the right home and to make sure that if you don't get it, it's okay. The world has not ended. We can keep moving forward. We can keep marching on more.
All right, we find that some people become afraid of the responsibilities and they become afraid of the unknown cost. So we'll talk to you a little bit about some of the responsibilities that you'll be undertaking and how we've handled those both as homeowners ourselves. We'll also discuss with you some of the customary costs that you can expect to see and how we can come up with creative solutions to solve those. Guys, I want to remind you, when we're talking about building generational wealth and what's out there for every person in this room, the biggest fear that we should have is going to be in not taking action and in missing out. All right. All right. And so that's why we say don't stress. All right. You just trust the pros and we'll do the rest. So that's why we built a team. When it comes to the real estate side, me and Roger, we are partners in the Marching to More team, but we also align ourselves with contractors, lawyers, title companies, and then we also have brought out for you guys a bunch of tried and tested professionals in insurance, credit, as well as mortgages to take care of us.
All right, so now we have the renting versus buying, all right? So how many of y'all had a situation when you're renting a house that you, let's say you needed a plumber. How long did it take for that plumber to come out there and fix the problem? And you had to rely on someone else to take care of it for you. Well, when you're renting, you don't have to worry about all the details of the entire house. You just got to make a phone call. And ultimately, that's all you get. Remember, when you're actually renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to talk about buying, which we're going to talk about equity, appreciation, generational wealth, tax benefits, and autonomy as well.
Gotcha. Has anybody, you're renting right now, so you are renting. All right, if you guys ever had plumbing issues, dishwasher go bad, anything like that, anything ever break in the house, what do you have to do? Call in maintenance. All right, and how long does it take for maintenance to come out? Was it a day? 2 days? 2 to 3 days. All right, sweet. All right, sweet. So that big word at the end that Roger said was autonomy, right? It allows you to do whatever you want, whenever you want. So I had a friend come over who has barbecues, who has people come over eat at their house. I did too. I was like, hey, man, enjoy yourself. Went in the bathroom. He used it. He came out. I went in the bathroom afterwards. I was like, hey, man, my toilet don't work no more. What happened? He said, oh, man, I went in there and, I don't know. I thought it still worked. It didn't. So that night, I had a toilet issue, and I had to go and fix it. So as I told you guys, I like to figure stuff out. I went to YouTube. I went to Home Depot. That night, I purchased a toilet. The next day, I replaced that toilet by myself because it's not that difficult being surprised. All you got to do is secure water. After you secure water, let it drain out. Then you put the toilet in. What I'm saying is it is a lot easier for you guys and for us, right? I'll say us because we're all homeowners in this room. Either we will be or we currently are. It is a lot easier for us to handle those problems ourselves than for us to rely on somebody else and just deal with the headache because they aren't treating our problem as big as we see it to be. Hey, welcome in, man. I want to say thank you for coming.
All right, let's talk about the benefits of ownership. So the first thing was equity. Equity is basically, it's real simple. Let's say you have a house for $100,000. Keep the numbers right. And over the next 5 years, you make every single mortgage payment. So now you owe $90,000. But the property values of the homes around the area are now selling for $150,000. So now the value of your house is $150,000, and you've already paid in, you owe $90,000. That means there's a $60,000 of equity that you can use for your personal benefits. Me personally, back in 2005, I finished my master's degree at Old Dominion University. I had some student loans, and I sold my first house I bought in 2001, and I paid off my student loans. Nothing came, well, it was my money, but nothing came physically out of my pocket. So these are the benefits of actually home ownership. When you're renting, you don't have that option. That's what I used it for anyways.
Exactly. So I hear a lot of times, and I'm going to allow for our subject matter expert, Christina, to talk to you about this, but I do hear a lot of times people say, interest rate's too high. Have you guys heard that? Interest rate's too high right now. Who knows what the interest rate is when you're renting? What is it? It's 100%. It's 100% interest. All right, so just keep that in mind. When people say, I want to wait till interest goes down, the moment you buy your house, your interest rate going to go down. So keep that in mind.
Tax deductions, ultimately all your interest that you pay on every single year on your mortgage is all, you can write it all the way off. So ultimately you can do that. There's a couple different options you can do if you actually do a small business inside of your home. Let's say your house is 1,000 square feet. You use 250 square feet for a little office for a online business. Your computer, everything, that space, you can actually write off your mortgage. So but we will have you talk specifically to a tax accountant to talk to you specifically on those things.
All right. And if you have any kids out there who are young entrepreneurs, make sure their room is their office too, right? Talk to your tax professional about that as well. All right. Sweet. We also have appreciation. So in Roger's example, he talked about the $100,000 home, and then you bought it at $100, $100,000. Every home around you went up in price. Thus, your home also went up in value. That very simply is appreciation. All right, everybody gets that. All right, generational wealth. Now, everyone in here raised their hand when we said, would you like to pass down generational wealth to your family? Now, if you have a home and it's your primary residence, you sell that home for less than $250,000, okay, and you take less than $250,000 of profit, that's tax-free. All right, as a couple, it's going to be $500,000. Now, also, when you pass this stuff down to your family in the proper manner, right? We want to keep it out of probate, right? We want to keep it out of things like that. So we might utilize a trust. So if you guys know anybody who could set you up with a trust that may or may not be in the room, you want to talk to them about that. But doing it the right way, you can pass down wealth free to your next generation. All right. So now that we've discussed what the benefits are, let's talk a little bit about how we get started. The first thing we want to do is save for a down payment.
So a couple different things you can do is, eat out less, go out, don't go out to drinks as much, go getting coffee every other week. But something that I personally did myself a long time ago was each day for 7 consecutive days, I wrote down everything I spent money on. And I realized my wants versus my needs. And what I did was all those things I wanted, I ended up taking those funds and I put it into a separate account. And so as a 22-year-old, I actually bought my first house in 2001 because I sacrificed maybe a year. Instead of getting the Jordans, I bought some little, Kmart was out then, Kmart shoes.
That's hard to believe, Roger. You was wearing some Kmart shoes.
Yeah, I know. But I did it. I put the money away. I stayed disciplined to it, and I was successful. As a result, my student loans got paid for. I was able to purchase another house, using the down payment program I had set up. I mean, these things work, so why not use them?
Exactly. So as you can see, guys, on the screen, it says to save 10 to 20%. All right. What I highly recommend, now in the story I told you earlier, I was financially illiterate. I would always put all my money into one checking account, and as soon as that big check would go in, I would start, $50 here, $50 there, and over time, that would start going down. What I did to curb that was I immediately start keeping a monthly budget. All right, so if you're currently not writing down a budget every month, I recommend, as you have that pen and paper in your hand right now, I believe when you take it from your mind and you bring it into this world in the form of words, it begins to be real. And as we see those real words on page, it allows us to begin to manifest that. So start writing the budget down every month. Another thing that I did was I split up my accounts into 3 different accounts. All right, I had a bill pay account, I had a savings account, and then I also had a fun fund, because what are we living this life for if we're not having fun? And if you try and tell yourself, oh, I'll be fine, I don't need the fun fund, we're lying to ourselves, right? So we want to be realistic and be pragmatic. If you know that on a monthly basis you want to spend $200 a month, put that into your fun fund and make sure that it works in your budget. So those are 2 savings tips that I have for you. Anything else, Raj?
It's hard, but you just gotta do it. You gotta see the value of you owning a home. It's much more valuable than those $200 pumps y'all picked up last week for this show, for the Nance concert in September.
I hope my little cousin out there listening in the doorway.
You know what I mean?
He got some nice shoes on right now, but he ain't got a house yet.
But realistically, yeah. So realistically, I mean, think about it. Does anybody remember where they put $500 2 years ago? No, you don't. You might spend it on going out to eat, coffee, or just going out to just doing different things. The key element is put that $500. By this time, if you would invest that time and money into the $500, it could be now worth over $1,000.
So on average, the average price home in the Virginia Beach or Hampton Roads area is going to be around $300,000. Okay. If you're putting down a down payment, you want that down payment to be somewhere around 3.5%, up to 10%, or even 20%. Okay. Now, if we save $300 a month, was it?
$300 a month. Yeah.
$300 a month times 12 months.
It's $3,600.
$3,600. All right. If we save $500 a month, that's going to be $6,000.
Yep.
$6,000. Okay. So you guys, if you think about how much you're saving, that's what you want to be considering: $300 to $500 a month.
If you do $300, how much is that a day? A month? We're gonna do some math real quick. 30 days, $300. How many dollars is that a day?
$10 a day.
$10 a day. Now, how much does, I don't know, Chick-fil-A cost when you go grab? Isn't it like $10 for number one?
But they say my pleasure, though.
Oh, that's true.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's true.
No, but it is, right? It's going to be about $10. So if we skip
$10 a
one
day.
Chick-fil-A, right, then we can save up for a house. Now, there are also down payment assistance programs, and I appreciate you, Pastor G, for your help. We got down payment assistance programs. If you are a military veteran with a service-connected disability and you want to repair your house, they actually have programs and grants that will allow you $6,000 to repair your house and modify it to your liking. If you have a FHA loan, there's a 3.5% down payment for the FHA loan if you have decent credit and you qualify.
And it's got to be at least 620, but we'll have Dwayne talk about that in just a little bit. But 3.5%, if we look at the numbers, if we think about a $100,000 house, that's $3,500. $200,000 is $7,000. $300,000 is, I don't know, $10,500.
$10,500.
That's how I figure out the numbers. 3.5%. All right. But Christina will talk to you about if you qualify for that particular loan as well. All right.
So there are states down payment assistance programs that could take that 3.5% down payment down to just 1%. All right. So if we're looking at that $300,000 home, how much is 1%? 1%. That's $3,000. Exactly.
Good job,
and we
everybody.
just said that if you save $300 a month, how much is that? A year.
$3,600.
$3,600. So for those people who are saying, I'll never be able to buy a home, well, hold on. It's not an if, but rather a when. when will we buy a home, okay?
Right.
So I usually put people on a program for 18 months. If you tell me you're 18 months out, all right, you need to speak with my preferred lender. If you're out 24 months out, that's usually going to be a financial issue or a credit issue. So then I'll refer you over to our credit repair specialist. But remember, we've always got a creative solution. You just have to have the desire and want, okay?
And discipline with your money. It's very important.
That is good.
Very important.
All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to Dwayne Jenkins. He is our credit quando, credit repair specialist, and he's going to help you kick your credit into gear and answer some of those questions. Dwayne, you want to come on down? You're the next contestant on Marching No More.
Right down the middle. You good.
Just break through the wall.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, not used to speaking into a mic. I'll make it work, though. How's everybody doing? All right, good. So I have a lot of credit knowledge. Here's the thing about credit. It could go in all different kinds of directions, right? So here's your chance to answer any question you've ever had about credit. There's a lot of misinformation and conflicting information online. If you've been getting your financial advice and credit advice from TikTok videos, please let's take the time to fact check that with me today. I heard a couple of bits and pieces being shared from our real estate team earlier today, and it just it took me back to a place that I used to be. So let me start with this, right? I used to be a debt collector, right? Ironically, I had the worst credit ever as a debt collector, right? So, my job was to call you and tell you about yourself and how you're not paying your bills, and your score was probably higher than mine when I was, making that call to you. That was a long time ago, and I'm kind of going out of order here, right? But that's because I just heard some powerful things that took me way back. That Donovan was sharing. He talked about Jordans, right? He talked about how he had the J's. He was fresh to death when he was financially irresponsible, right? All right, cool. How many of you guys are sneakerheads or know a little bit about the shoes? All right, cool. I'm gonna drop this on you guys. To this day, they're in my closet at home right now, dry rotting. I have a pair. You're a sneakerhead. I'm gonna share this with you. I have a pair of cement gray Air Jordan 4s, right? That came out in '99, right? Original box, everything. I've never even tried them on, right? The reason why I have them never worn is because back in the day, I would buy 2 pairs of the same color. In case somebody stepped on the first pair, I would have another pair as an immediate backup. Straight up and down, they are in my closet right now, and you can't pick them up because you'll leave your fingerprint in the shoe because they are dry rotting. If I try to wear them, they would fall apart right off of my foot. Right. So, and that took me back when you guys were sharing, stories about the kicks. And I wish I had transitioned to Kmart shoes. I didn't do that, but I did get serious. So what happens with the Jordans and everything is that they tend to be symbols of success. Right. A lot of times in our society, we value looking successful. But unfortunately, the success is not always as it seems, right? So I think that when I ultimately made the transition to stop looking like I was successful, and I took the time to actually be successful, and it took a lot of sacrifice, on my part. But now I can have any pair of Jordans I want, as many pairs as I want. I don't even want them now. That's the irony of it is that, when you make that transition, it feels good knowing you can do something and not necessarily doing it. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll just use myself as an example so nobody feels like they're being picked on. It was ridiculous when I had probably had 14 pairs of Jordans. and I was scared to wear them, and I had 2 pairs of every one. That's actually ridiculous, and my credit score was jacked up. And if a bill collector called me, I would have told him I didn't have any money. But if Nike was dropping a pair of sneakers, I would camp out to get those. So it's really about the value that you place on yourself. And what I really need people to do is start valuing their name, their birth-given name that's on their birth certificate, and not Michael Jordan's name or Tommy Hilfiger's name or Ralph Lauren's name. Because when it comes down to it, you can't put Ralph Lauren's name on a mortgage application. You could, and that's going to be, you could. I mean, we'll see how that goes for you. But, we need to value our own name. My autograph is actually worth something right now. I was thinking about Michael Jordan, and man, how he could just take a basketball and just sign it, and now that basketball is worth thousands of dollars. Well, I could take a piece of paper, right, and then I can sign my name on it, and now it's worth an Escalade, it's worth a house, or anything I want. And because I have built equity in my name, people know that they're going to get money. I don't get the background checks. I don't get the credit check. Well, once they check my credit, they don't need pay stubs. They don't need anything else. I walk in, they act like they don't want to wait on me. They check my credit. Now I'm Mr. Jenkins. Would you like a macchiato, Mr. Jenkins? Would you like a coffee, Mr. Jenkins? Raphael will run to Starbucks if we don't have anything to your liking in here, right? So, it's a different feeling. It's ridiculous having putting another grown man's name above your name. That's absolutely ridiculous when you don't have your stuff together. And it's also ridiculous that I could go to any dealership here right now and get any car I want. Which side of ridiculous do you want to be on? It's really your choice. Unfortunately, in life, there's a lot of tough lessons. There will be winners. There will be losers. Sometimes it hurts when we see people that we care about on the wrong end of that winner-loser paradigm. But the beautiful thing about it is if you're willing to make some small sacrifices to get on track, you can pick the group you're going to be in, right? It feels so much better being a winner. Right? All right. So I got a little bit off track, but that's because I heard some things that resonated with me. Again, my name is Dwayne Jenkins. My company is Credit Kwando. Okay. We Jackie Chan charge-offs, we Bruce Lee late pays, and we Kung Fu collections. Right? We have worked very hard. Well, I've worked very hard to become the best at what I do. And I will tell you without blinking that we are the #1 option for credit questions as a credit resource in 757. No other team is touching us or coming close. Last year, we were at more closings through customers that used our service to get ready than the average agent sold houses in Hampton Roads. You can fact check that. We don't have before and after pictures of doctored Photoshop credit reports saying, hey, he was at a 400, now he's at an 800. No, we have videos at closings with the agent, with the attorney, with the loan officer as they're signing papers. We're not playing around. We worked very hard to get to this point. How it all started is, again, let me take you back. I was working at Portfolio Recovery Associates. I was a top debt collector there. I didn't play around when it came to getting money. I did play around when it came to paying my bills, but I didn't play around when it came to collecting our money. So I was very good at that job. It didn't feel good putting people down for their credit when their credit was better than mine. Now, what happened to me was that I had a Mustang Cobra convertible, and that car looked amazing on the outside. To be honest with you, and I could talk about this now, the only thing that worked on that car was the check engine light. Okay. And when I went to the dealership and I found out how bad my credit was, they told me I couldn't finance a Snickers with a Twix for collateral, right? That's how jacked up the situation was. So because, again, symbols of success, I looked good on the outside, and honestly, that's what a lot of people only care about. I kept driving the car literally until the wheels fell off, right? My credit score was in the low 400s when I got that bad news from the dealership. And I remember, man, to this day, it was at Casey Chevrolet. I don't remember the salesperson's name, but they had like a tower that was separate from the main building. And it was a Saturday, so there was a lot of people on the lot. And this dude, man, he came out and he was like, man, your credit is bad. And I mean, he must have shouted it as loud as his lungs allowed him to, man. And it was It didn't make me feel good about myself in that moment, but I kept working, I kept driving it, and ultimately what happened is that what lit a fire under me to actually get started on my credit journey was literally there was a fire underneath me. The car itself with the driver's seat caught on fire. Now, thankfully, I was parked. I was pulling out of my parents' driveway, and yeah, I mean, I've got pictures, man. I've got pictures. I could give me your email address. You could see the Newport News Fire Department pouring water into my baby. So that takes me back. It's April 2009. I've actually got a 524 credit score at that time. I started working on my credit. I knew a lot about credit, right? And I decided to go to Lexington Law because, hey, they're a law firm. They could just, write some things for me. It'll come from an attorney, and I'll get right. Well, I found out that's not how they operate. I honestly don't know why they're attorneys. They don't do any actual legal work for you. I guess it just makes people feel better to say that they're attorneys, right? So I decided to take the journey on myself, and I took my credit score from a 524 in April 2009. By September 17th, I was at a 720 credit score. By September 21st, I was at a 764 credit score. And then I was able to go to the dealership, and I went to my bank, they gave me a check, and then they said, hey, take that check, and get whatever you want. And I'm used to, doing the AP method when it comes to getting the cars. Anybody know what the AP method is? Applying and praying. So you go to the dealership, you put your hands together, you look up to the ceiling, and they come out and they tell you they got you approved at 16%. So that's usually how I bought a car. So it was just a different, unique feeling to have a check and to be able to go out and get whatever I want. I said, man, this must have been a fluke. Maybe I got lucky. I started helping friends and family. And then from there, I decided, man, this is something that I can do, and I feel good about myself, and I'm actually helping people. Why don't I just do this full time? So we officially started in 2013, and we haven't looked back. And now, we've got employees, and we're a team, and we're everywhere. I have another event happening right now in Newport News that our team is covering. So, we've had a great success story, and it's my goal to eliminate nobody taught me, right? Nobody taught me. So when a lot of times when credit comes up, what I hear is that, I wish they taught this in school. Nobody taught me, and I want to eliminate that, and I want to put you in a position where you have the information where you can decide if you're going to be successful, but you won't be able to say that nobody taught you, right? So what I want to talk about are key points of credit, and I got some notes here. I want to talk about key points of credit that I think everybody should know, and then I'll be happy to open up for questions. Typically, when we talk about credit, people have a lot of questions, and I'm here to answer them for you. What I want you to do, number one, pause before you apply, okay? Pause before you apply. Now, what does that mean? That means that I want you to start planning out what you want to have in your credit portfolio, what cards you want to have in your wallet, what loans you want to have on your report. How do you want credit to serve you? And you do that by planning out when you're going to apply for things. I could tell you which credit cards and accounts that I wanted to apply for in 2024. It's that far out, right? So just to give you an example. So you may not be at that point yet, but what you could stop doing right now is applying for things emotionally. So for instance, if you're in Kohl's and the girl says, hey, you're at the register, she says, hey, save 10% applying for a Kohl's card today. You're buying a pack of socks. I mean, what is 10% off of a $15 pack of socks? Think about that. It's $1.50, right? I was right there with you. 300,000 was 1%. I didn't want to say anything, but it's $1.50. The inquiry on your credit, you can't rack up inquiries over mindless applications, right? So, when you go to Christina and you're trying to buy a house and she sees all these inquiries and she sees them from every store of Lynn Haven Mall, she's going to look at you funny, right? So think about what you want to apply for before you apply for it, right? Okay. Do not be scared of credit cards. Since we're talking about applying for cards, don't be scared of credit cards. Credit cards are actually your friend. I don't know a credit card that's ever hurt anybody. I don't know a credit card that's ever assaulted anyone. You know, your credit card is your friend. Now, what you do with your friend, that's where, you could get in trouble, right? But your credit card is your friend, and your credit score is really based on your usage of revolving accounts. Those are going to be credit cards. A lot of times people think that when they're about to make that last payment on an auto loan or a personal loan or even a mortgage that their score is going to go up. A lot of times it doesn't move or it even drops a few points. Lenders want to know how you deal with temptation, right? It's not really, it's really hard to mess up buying a car. They tell you the day you got to make the payment. They tell you how much the payment is, and they tell me how many payments you got to make. I mean, you can't really mess that up. Why aren't store cards as important? Well, because, you get a Sears card, how many washer and dryers are you really going to buy? You know what I mean? So it's when you get a Visa or a MasterCard or an American Express and a Discover, man, you could take that thing to the club. You could buy drinks on that thing. I'm in a church. You could tithe off of your credit card. You can get gas, groceries. You could do so many things with your card, right? And they want to know how you're going to handle all of those temptations, right? And when you handle them well, that's when your score is rewarded. So please make sure you have a major credit card, okay? And speaking of major credit cards, you want to look at it. People are like, well, I maxed out my card. Why did my score go down? Well, I need you to think of your total credit limit like your paycheck, okay? So if you got $1,000 limit on a credit card, it's like you got $1,000 paycheck. You can't access that whole $1,000, can you, right? So your credit limit is gonna be like your gross paycheck, right? And we want you to be, as a general rule, we want you to be roughly 30%. So whatever 30% is of your limit is what you should be spending, right? So if you got $1,000 credit card, you should be hovering around a $300 mark, right? Okay. So moving right along, that took me right to my next point. Never go near the limit, right? Never go near the limit. What you want to do, let's take it back to the paycheck scenario, right? Your gross paycheck. Well, you can't access that. So when you want to make more money, you get a promotion, right? So what's a promotion look like with credit cards? It looks like a credit line increase, right? So as you get credit line increases, you get bumped up from $1,000 to $2,000. So now 30% of that is going to put you around $600, right? So just never go near the limit. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, and I'm just going through this really quickly. I know we got other speakers with amazing information. Never co-sign for anyone. Never co-sign for anyone. If people stop co-signing for stuff, I might not even have a business anymore. I mean, to be honest with you, that is probably the single worst thing you could do, right? So who am I really talking about? You're not walking down the street co-signing for strangers. I'm talking about your kids. I'm talking about your husband, your spouse, your partner, your cousin, your sister, right? Stop co-signing for them. If you actually have good credit, there's a number of ways you can leverage your credit to help somebody without co-signing for them, right? I've never known so many people to co-sign for someone else to have a motorcycle. I'm just like, what in the world is going on here, right? And it's tempting. We want to help our loved ones. We have a strong bond with them. They probably looked out for us in a million ways, right? But you have to take care of yourself in order to be able to truly help other people, right? And nobody's going to care about your credit as much as they care about their own credit. So if this person is not in a situation where they could get their own loan, they're probably not going to take care of this loan any more than they took care of any other loan. The biggest problem with co-signing for somebody is that, how can I put this? All right, when you co-sign for somebody, it doesn't help them get a better interest rate. So if your cousin comes to you and saying, hey, I'll get a better interest rate if you co-sign for me, that's just simply not true. Their interest rate is going to be based on their credit report. The lender just wants your name on there with your amazing credit, so when they don't pay, then they can come after you. Now, the lender does not care about your credit. So what happens is that they're not going to contact you when your cousin is 2 days late. They're going to contact you when your cousin's 60 days late. I've known people that didn't even know that a vehicle that they co-signed for was repossessed. They're going to go buy a car or themselves, or they have some sort of emergency, and they've got a repossession on their credit for a car that they never drove because they trusted someone else, right? So never co-sign for anybody. The last point that I want to make is, are you stalking the right score? Okay, so show of hands, can somebody tell me how many credit scores you actually have? I would think that too, right? Because why would you say 3? Perfect. That's perfect logic. 3 credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, you probably have 3 credit scores. So I'm going to step back and I'm going to answer that question. You actually have 2 scoring systems, right? One is called Vantage Score. The other one is called FICO. Vantage scores are commonly known as Credit Karma scores, right? Now, I don't like for people to call them Credit Karma scores, because if you go to Credit Sesame or Identity IQ or another website, you might say, hey, I can trust these scores because I'm not on Credit Karma, but it's still the same scoring system, which is Vantage, right? Now, those scores are pretty much for informational purposes only. A lender like Christina is going to be using FICO scores, right? Now, you may have heard of FICO scores, right? Now, your bank will give you a free FICO score. There are some websites that might give you a free FICO score. If you are a member of Experian, which you could do for free, there's a FICO score there. But you actually have 28 different consumer FICO scores. 28, right? So here's what happens. Your website is saying that you're at a 660 credit score and you're ready to buy a house because your lease is up. Then you go to Christina and she tells you you're at a 580, and you don't think Christina knows what she's talking about. But the reality is that she's looking at a FICO score that's related to mortgages, right? And you're looking at a different FICO score. You actually have scores for each bureau, and then you have scores for every type of loan. Why is that? Because people are crazy. That's why. Hey, people are crazy. People are wild out here. And some folks value those symbols of success so much that they will make their car payment religiously, but they may be a little janky when it comes to paying their rent. Or maybe they pay for the roof over their head, right? Because, hey, that's what's important to them, but that car note gets a little shaky, right? So sometimes you'll get dinged for any negative issue on your credit report, but you may get approved if you show that by an auto lender if your car payment history is nice, right? Regardless of what's going on, with your other, loans. So you actually have different loans for different scores for different types of loans, right? So Christina is going to be using the Equifax 5, the TransUnion 4, and the Experian 2, and you can only get those from a lender like her, or you could go to a website called myfico.com, which will give you all 28 FICO scores, right? So any questions about credit? Anybody? I can open the floor if anybody wants a myth debunked or has a general question. Donovan? If you need to get credit established, and if you're at the point where you need to get a secured card to move in that direction, then that's the way to go. Let's go back real quick to when I had a 524 credit score. The only company that would give me a card is a company called First Premier. Anybody ever heard of First Premier? Okay. That card came to me and I applied and prayed, and I was thankful when I got approved. That thing came to me with a $275 limit. It already had a balance of $180. Those are all the fees that I had to accept for them to give me the card. It had about a 36.5% interest rate. It is the worst card in America. And when you want a credit line increase, you actually have to pay a fee to get a credit line increase. It's like $25 for every 100. But you know what? I had to do that to get started on my journey. And when I had that 764, I got a $15,000 limit from one company and a $20,000 limit from the other. So yes, I'm gung-ho about you getting a secure card. Now, where can you get a secure card from? I like the Discover secured card. You could secure it for $200, and after about 8 months of on-time payment history with them, they will consider making it an unsecured card, and no one will ever know that you had a secure card. It'll be just as good as a normal Discover card. The other card, if you have a bruise history, if you've already kind of went sideways with the secure card, there's a company called Open Sky. The website is OPENSKYCC.com. And for a $200 deposit, they will accept your application for a secure card, and they don't do a credit check, right? So, if you actually need a second chance on a secure card, I would go to Open Sky. But yes, I'm gung-ho about secure cards. Any other questions?
The same rules apply as far as that secured card for $200 do not go above 30%?
Absolutely. The 30% is a general rule, just so you know your credit score could be affected by as little as a 10% balance. So the 30% rule is a general rule. If you are really in the market for getting a house, you're going to do that in the near future, the next 6 to 12 months, you want your balances actually be closer to 7%. We can talk about that offline. Any other questions? Tupac. So it was about 5.5 months. It was a 524 to a 764. I had some issues on my credit report that I disagreed with, and I used my process to challenge some of those issues. Wasn't a perfect process. I'll give you an example. I was financing a vehicle. All right, y'all want to do some math? Okay. I financed a vehicle for 6 years. How many months is that?
72.
Thank you. 72 months. Okay. So when I had that low credit score, I had 76 late payments on this auto loan. Right. That's spectacular. I try to do things big. Whether I win or fail, I'm going big with it. It's going to be spectacular. Yeah, I got 76 late payments on a 72-month loan. And that's actually possible. But using my process, I was able to get 65 of those payments removed. So at the 764, I still had 11 late payments up there. Nobody has a magic wand for your credit, but I used my process to get my score to where it needed to be. And I was able to get some other things rectified on my credit in addition to applying for the right things. Yeah.
Question 2, how to remove all previous inquiries legally?
Are they legitimate inquiries?
Some, no.
Okay. Well, we could talk about how to work on the ones that are illegitimate, right? But let me just add this point in there. Inquiries, you don't want to rack them up unnecessarily, but they're not really hurting you as much as you think. An inquiry is only going to affect your FICO score for 12 months. It'll be visible on your credit report for 24 months, but it only affects your credit for 12 months. So you might see inquiries up there, but if they are over a year old, don't worry about them. They just look bad, but they're fine, right? Any other questions? All right, guys, if you think of some, just let me know. I'm here. Thank you for listening to me, putting up with me for a few minutes. And like I said, you've got a credit resource now. If you guys need anything, I'm here for you. All right.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you, Dwayne. Sweet. Hey, if you guys are looking for a training partner, too, hit up Dwayne. He's got muscles, man. Jesus. Thank you for everyone who's coming in after we've started. So we've seen our credit portion. Nice with Credit Kwando. We'll make sure that you guys have their contact information at the end of our segments. Next up, we're going to be having Christina Cicero. She is a phenomenal lender over at Atlantic Coast Mortgage. She works directly with myself as well as Dwayne, and she's going to tell you a little bit about how to get it pre-approved and the different type of loans that are available to you all. All right, so Christina.
Woo-hoo.
Oh,
Round of applause, everybody.
thank you, thank you. Hi, guys. A little bit about me. I am pretty new to the area of Virginia Beach. I grew up in England, have lived in the States for, I've lost track, maybe 24 years. Just moved to Virginia Beach, got married in September. New area for me. I've been with my company, Atlantic Coast Mortgage, for 2 years. I am pretty, I'd say, new to the industry. I was a music teacher before that, and I like to think that the math of music has translated into the math of mortgages, but I love mortgages, and I have been helping people get into mortgages before I actually bought my own home. So I just recently went through my first home purchase in May. So I love being able to help first-time home buyers understand the process. I've just walked through it myself, and thank you, Dwayne and Donovan and Roger, for everything that you just shared. Set me on fire a little bit. I also have the history of terrible credit, and my score was 505. It was probably lower than that before I actually checked it, but I was just la 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 for a lot of years. And when I finally, it was getting a vehicle, and because my car didn't light on fire, but it stopped running, and I had to go get a car, and they told me they pulled my credit, I don't know, 25 times trying to fit me into something. But I had a 505. I did walk out with a vehicle, and it was then also that I decided to work on my credit. I think I had credit shame. I'd like to think I coined that term, but I think a lot of people suffer from that, and a lot of people that come and talk to me, don't know where they are. They've been looking at Credit Karma. They just don't know what's going on, and I just think that awareness and getting the process started is amazing. So I can give a little bit of credit tips, but Mr. Jenkins here is amazing. It took me a lot longer than 6 months to rebuild my own credit. It took me, it's been about 5 years now, and when I got into my mortgage, I was at a 747. So I am now in a competition with my husband, who is in the 800s, and I'm going to get up there with him. So yes, a little bit about the pre-approval process for getting a home. Has anyone ever applied for a home loan before? Okay. And how did you find a lender? Did you see stuff online, on TV?
I contact my trusty realtor.
Okay, perfect. That is the correct answer. So it is important. I would say I am a local lender. So a local lender, we are enmeshed in the local market. We work closely with realtors, and we know the market. These big box online lenders you may have heard, I don't need to name any names, may flash some really good interest rates in front of your eyes. Most of the quotes you're getting from them are not accurate. They're usually based on an 800 credit score and a lot of other factors that just may not be your actual situation. They will also pre-qualify. There's a difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval. So a lot of the online big lenders will give you a pre-qualification. They will look at your income. They will maybe not even look at it. They will just take your word for it. And don't you know, a lot of people don't actually know what we actually make. If we're hourly, we usually have an idea. But a lot of people, I know people that really don't even know their salary. They get their paycheck every month and it goes in the bank. But we don't really always know. A lot of these online lenders are going to just take your word for it, give you a pre-qualification, and you bring that pre-qualification from one of those lenders to your realtor. They can talk about that. They're not going to be so happy to work with that lender. Getting you a solid pre-approval where we check your assets. That means we check your pay stubs, your taxes, and your bank statements, and we pull that credit report, like Dwayne was saying, the FICO 542, and we match up your liabilities that are on the credit report to your assets. We will give you a solid pre-approval. You will really know your numbers. We'll pull in an accurate interest rate for you. That's a piece of paper you want to be taking to your realtor. I timed out of my, thank you, Donovan. What am I here to talk about? Oh, pre-approval. So yes, it can be a little overwhelming, a little daunting. I suggest listen to your realtor, find someone you trust. This whole process gets really intimate. I have to ask you really intimate questions that I wouldn't ask the average person on the street. My family, thank you, often tell me, I go straight to what do you make? What's your credit score? Tell me about your debt. It's not really appropriate questions for out there, but it does, we have to know everything. I've made relationships with my clients. It's what happens, it gets intimate, and a good realtor, a good lender is gonna be a strong team for you. So I suggest finding a local lender. My company, Atlantic Coast Mortgage, is a local lender. There's a lot of good lenders around here, so I suggest finding a local. Okay, let's talk a little bit about common loan types. So Donovan mentioned a little bit about the VA loan. I think I saw you all nodding. You know, one of the biggest benefits of the VA loan is 0 down payment. So that is a wonderful benefit. You can come out of pocket, no money, and get into a loan. There is another loan type, the USDA loan. It's a more rural loan. That is also a 0 down payment loan. I will tell you that Hampton Roads does not qualify. There's no pockets in Hampton Roads. Once you get out a little bit towards Franklin and it gets a little more rural, you can get into a USDA loan. They do area eligibility, but I'm happy to, if anyone's thinking of moving out, I'm happy to check the site and let you know what areas qualify for that. I just moved from Northern Virginia, and I always think it's like so metro and near DC up there. There's more pockets up in Northern Virginia for the USDA than there is down here, but it is a fantastic loan type. I had a borrower, I was qualifying her for an FHA loan, and we had the down payment assistance for her going, so she had to come $0 out of pocket. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. I had her qualified in there, did a little research. The home that she was buying when her contract came through, the home she was buying qualified for USDA. When I switched her over into that other loan type, she saved $400 a month in her monthly payment. So find yourself a lender that's going to give you more than one option for a loan type. If you're just hearing one thing from your lender, go talk to someone else. And that mortgage inquiry that Dwayne was touching on, once you get your credit pulled for a mortgage, you do have a window of about 15 to 45 days. I don't know the exact window, but it's somewhere between 15 and 45 days to have your mortgage credit report pulled a few times without it looking like a terrible ding of inquiries on your report. So you can shop lenders. I think, if you came to me, you'd be happy, but it is your right to shop and always get more than one option. And I can give you more than one option. So VA is 0 down payment, wonderful option. If you are a veteran or a surviving spouse of a veteran. USDA, wonderful option, but it is more rural. So FHA, also wonderful option for a loan. So minimum down payment, 3.5%. And as we talked about, I'm going to talk about the down payment assistance after I get through these. But the minimum down payment is 3.5%. And let's see, meant for first-time home buyers. Yes, and another thing about the FHA loan, I would also say that it's more for folks who don't have the really, really high credit score. So you will see online, FHA, you can get in with a 500 or a 580. I will tell you, interest rates, it's just not the safest way to get into a loan when your credit's there. You may find a lender that will put you in, but if you can target being around 620, we can get you that down payment assistance on top of your FHA loan. But the higher your credit goes, we like to push people into the next type, which is conventional loans. So you can go as low as 3% down payment here if you are a first-time home buyer. And the 20% down payment, you may think, why would I put so much money down if I can get into a home with, less? If you put less than 20% down on a home, you have to carry what we call mortgage insurance. This is not the homeowner's insurance that Iris is going to talk about. This is mortgage insurance in your monthly payment. So that is why that 20% is, you probably hear it all over the place. If you put 20% down, you can drop, it's different for every loan type, but sometimes it's a $200 payment every month. So FHA, the one with a 3.5% down payment, comes the life of the loan, you have to carry this mortgage insurance. So again, it's the FHA is for a little bit lower credit score, and one downside, it's a wonderful loan type, But one downside is if you get into an FHA loan, you carry that mortgage insurance for the entire life of the loan. You can always refinance out and into a conventional loan and drop that once your credit gets up. But that's FHA is a great way to get people into their first home. So I see that Donovan did add that in here. It's a great loan type. So let's talk a little bit about, what's the next slide? That is not me. Okay, down payment assistance a little bit. You touched on that a little bit. Okay, so I am a VHDA lender. That is Virginia Housing. We have access to government assistance and grants to help folks, first-time home buyers. And do you know that if you haven't owned in the past 3 years, you can be considered a first-time home buyer again? So you're not only a first-time home buyer only once. You just have to have not had ownership in a home for 3 years. We can help first-time home buyers get down payment assistance. So, as we know, the veterans and their VA loans do not need down payment assistance. We add the VHDA the product onto these different loan types. So, our most popular is the down payment, the second lien you can take out. It is not free money. And find yourself a lender that's going to be honest about this. I've heard people, get into a VHDA loan. It's a wonderful option to get into a home if you don't have that money saved up for a down payment, but it is not free money. The second lien is they are financing your down payment for you. So you're paying interest on it, and you're paying usually about $30 to $50 a month. You are paying it back, but you don't have to come out of pocket for that money. There are options to get grants, so that is the free money, and I think Donovan touched on that before. If you can come up with the 1% by yourself, then VHDA will give you 2% free. So there are options, and you can talk. The opportunity and situations are endless for loan types. I'm trying to just keep it pretty simple here. But these are the 4 main loan types: VA, USDA, FHA, conventional, and many options for down payment assistance, mainly through Virginia Housing, but there are also programs and grants through the different cities. I don't personally work with them. They are application. I can tell you about them, and we can take the money from them, but they can give you a lot of free money too. So do your research on that, and I can guide you if you want to ask about that. Let's see. Is that good? Okay, great. And you can come. Yeah. Oh, any questions right now? Yes.
You said that, you had mentioned if you can come up with the 1%, VHDA will give you 2% for free.
Yes, free money, yes.
But that money has to be paid back.
No, so a grant is free money, no repayment necessary.
So that's different from the second lien.
That is different,
okay,
correct. Yes, correct. The second lien is basically a tiny second baby loan that you are paying back over time. Yeah.
Good afternoon. So I currently rent a house. However, I want to own a house, but I want to own a multiplex and live in one of the units and rent out the other unit. So is financing for that available through someone like yourself? And if so, what are my options?
Absolutely. So you can do that. And hi, Clarence. Yes, absolutely. And we need to talk more, actually. But FHA would be a good way to go. So, yeah, we can talk about those details a little later. But, yeah.
Any other questions?
And please do come talk to me after. Everybody's situation is completely different. Like I said, this process is intimate. I like to find out everything about you and try and guide you into the best fitting option for you. And if I know that someone else can help you better, and my hands are tied. The government, I'm not making a judgment on your credit report. I get what I get, and my hands are tied. The government sets guidelines. I just know how to move around in the guidelines and find the best fit for you. But if I know someone else and another company can help you better, I will guide you there. I will also ask that you show me whatever quote you get from your online lender. I will ask to see the loan estimate from another loan officer, and I will bring clarity to those charges because that loan estimate can be very, very confusing, and I will be transparent with you. So please do come and ask me any other questions. You should have a lot of questions. I certainly did. when I joined this industry, it's overwhelming. It can be confusing, and I'm here to educate and help. So, yes, I'm Christina. Come talk to me after.
Thank you, Christina. We appreciate it. Just a quick side note. I particularly had a situation where my client, they chose a national loan company. That company was in California. And we needed to get something done by like 10 a.m. And I had to make this phone call by 8:30 in the morning. Well, guess what? That loan officer for me to contact, they were asleep. So that's why you guys stick with the local. Christina's right here, ready to go at all times. So just keep that in mind when you decide to go to, Rocket Mortgage and all those other ones. Just realize where they are.
They are phenomenal still, though. They're still great companies. Great. Don't want to bash anybody.
I'm not bashing nobody. I'm just saying.
And as Christina said, guys, she dropped a lot of jewels. Thank you very much, Christina. She stated that if she can't help you, that she will direct you towards someone else. That is a very true statement, and that is what we are always here to do as professionals. We want to make sure we have the right fit for you. You do have that window of shopping around, and Christina said something that I actually always advise my clients, regardless of who I'm going to send them to as a preferred lender. I always recommend shopping around because they can compete for the best rates for you guys. So if you show them a rate that says, hey, Navy Federal was able to give me lower, Rocket Mortgage was able to give me lower, it allows her to go to her office and say, what can we do for this client? And really stick her neck out there and go to bat for you guys. So keep that in mind.
Now, you're getting a lot of information. Just realize we're a team.
Exactly.
Once you contact us, we'll specifically go through your situation and advise you correctly. So I know you're writing down a whole bunch of notes. Just really, she's giving out a lot of information, but just take your time. That's why we work together every single day.
Real estate is not a one-size-fits-all. Before we move on to the next slide, I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of my experiences. I have had people walk into a home not paying any money at all, okay? I personally got paid a check when I bought my house because I was a real estate agent and I negotiated that. I like doing that, you know what I mean? At my last closing, which happened on Monday, that person walked to the closing table with less than $2,000, walked out with keys, and now has access to equity and generational wealth. It is very possible, all right? And it's all about coming up with a creative solution for your situation, okay? Tyranny sitting here in the first row, she's going to be different than Clarence sitting there in the back row. You know what I mean? And I want to have a conversation with each of you on an individual level, so that way we can understand where we can make things happen for you. All right? So next up, we want to make sure you listen to your guides. That's going to be Roger and I. All right? Now, if we are a team, you're going to be the person who comes to us and you say, run this play for us, Donovan. And I say, all right, Roger that, coach, put me in the game. All right? We're the quarterbacks. This is my quarterback right here.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
right.
So we're the quarterbacks. We're going to be the people who are communicating between both the lender, the title company. You're most likely going to talk to the credit repair person on your own, but after you're done there, send you over to us. We're going to be making sure that you have the proper insurance and things like that. Afterwards, we're going to help you to negotiate. All right, when we get out there, you guys know about the contracts. We're going to put in a standard purchase agreement for you, and we're going to negotiate for the best terms for you. I said that I just had somebody close with less than $2,000 out of pocket. Well, how did I do that? I negotiated them 3% closing costs, so they had majority of their closing costs paid for. We negotiated all of their repairs to get done through closing, and if they needed any additional repairs, we were able to finance a majority of that. Most of the $1,000 or $1,100 that they had to pay was a small portion of their closing costs. Okay. After negotiating,
we have to do we go on the contract. We have to put down an earnest money deposit. For those who don't know what that earnest money deposit is, it is showing your commitment to purchasing this house. Now, in this environment right now, when we put an earnest money deposit, you can go from $500 up to $5,000 if you like. It's entirely up to you. It's your money. It goes into an account that doesn't have any interest or anything like that. However, it shows the seller how serious you are about buying that house. So, example, I put $500 toward this particular house. Donovan puts an offer in as well. He puts in $1,500. Which one does the seller want to commit to? Because he has more to lose than I do. So just remember, that's your money still, okay? So just showing your commitment to purchasing the house, you have some skin in the game, all right? With that being said, if they can, there's a possibility they can lose their $1,500 if they should actually renege on the offer. But we'll take care of that for you. No worries. Then if someone else comes in, they put in a $5,000 commitment, right? Does that mean you're going to actually get the offer because you put a $5,000 EMD? No, because there's other terms in this process as well. So just because you have the highest EMD doesn't mean you're going to get the property. It just means you have more skin in the game. But we'll talk to you about that on an individual case.
Some of those other terms that Roger is mentioning is going to be your home inspections. All right, you're going to have a home inspection window. Typically what we can find is it's going to be 7 to 10 days is what we normally recommend. I have not, in my entire four years of doing real estate, ever asked any of my clients to not have a home inspection. Okay, so you guys have maybe heard like, hey, this person didn't even want to have a home inspection. I never recommend a first-time home buyer or a person who is not knowledgeable about real estate or the properties themselves ever forego their inspection, because it's the most crucial thing. If you get in there and you have a termite-infested crawl space and you chose to not have that home inspection, not much I could do for you. If you get in there and the roof falls in while you're sleeping and you call me, remember when you didn't want to have that inspection? Yeah, your roof fell in, my bad. All right, enjoy it. I don't ever want to have that call. I always want to make sure that when you call me, you say, Donovan, I have an issue, and I say, okay, I probably have a solution. Okay, so we'll negotiate your homes inspections and making sure that you guys have those.
And then we'll go into appraisals. Now, an appraisal is just an estimate of the value of the home. So the lender sends out an appraiser to go out to look at the house. They'll do a comparison of all the other homes that have sold in the last 6 months. So like I said earlier, if you put a house on that's $150,000 and the other homes around it is worth $140,000, that means you're paying a little bit higher money into the house, all right? So it's all going to be compared to the same number of bedrooms, similar number of bathrooms, square footage. So an appraiser will go out there and do the estimate for you. And remember one key thing. If you put an offer on a house at $150,000 and the appraisal comes out at $140,000 because the other homes are worth $140,000, the loan will be up for $140,000. However, that seller has an option to walk away from the deal. They don't have to sell.
Do they have another option?
I don't know, do they?
Yeah, they can walk away. They can lower the price. So if the home only appraises for $140,000, they can lower the price of the home, or you can bring cash to close. So if you find that you have cash in your pockets, you have equity, or you can get a loan or a gift from someone, you can bring cash to closing. I usually don't want to pay more than what a home is worth, but it's all up to your situation and how badly you want that investment property.
Now, prior to even getting into writing a contract, we'll look at the other houses ourselves and say, okay, these houses are worth $140,000. You know, you may not want to offer $150,000. You know, you might want to do something where you do $140,000 and maybe pay your own closing cost. You know, there's a lot of different options and variations we can do with that. Okay?
So while we are sitting in the crowd right now, after we go under contract, are you obligated to buy that house?
Say no.
No. So I know a lot of people, right? We talked about fears that people have. When we get into a contract, a lot of people fear, oh man, I just said I'm gonna buy this house and now I have to buy this house no matter what. Well, remember, we have a home inspection. What if the home inspection is not to your liking? You can walk. We have an appraisal. What if the appraisal is not agreeable and to your liking? You can walk. What if there's a condo and there's a condo owners association and you look at those documents, which we didn't even know about. We just found this out, right? We just got into the contract and you don't like those documents. You have 72 hours. It's called a 3-day no-look period in which you can walk. Okay, so what we put on the screen is not every cookie cutter deal, because there's no such thing as a cookie cutter real estate transaction, but it's what's most often going to happen. In your situation, we will make sure that we're always aware of the opportunities for you to walk away if you should so choose to do so. It's never a goal of ours, but we always want you to know your rights. All right.
And we got to make sure we have a clean title. Clean title just means that the house can be sold free and clear directly to you. The title company will come in and look and see the history of the house. If there was a contractor came out there and put a deck on there, a new roof, and that contractor has not been officially paid in full, that contractor can go down to the courts and put a lien on the house, and then the title company will realize what's happening on that lien, and they will take care of it from there. You don't have to worry about a thing. When they take care of it, if it's paid off, then we can move forward in the closing of the house. All right. Title company, you only see them at closing basically, but they're working the whole time.
Hey, I appreciate you guys for staying energized and engaged during this whole entire conversation. We are almost there. We're almost at the closing table. We're almost going to reach your goal. But before we do that, we want to make sure you understand how to protect your assets. Exactly. So next up, we've got Mrs. Iris Nance of Farmers Insurance. She's going to talk to you about some of her great products and how she's been protecting our community for more than 20 years. All right. That's a long one. Here it comes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Iris Nance, and insurance is probably the most boring subject on earth, but I'm going to try to make it as exciting as possible and as short as possible. With the insurance piece, it's usually the very last thing that has to get done, and the home is your largest investment, so you want to make sure that it's properly covered. Some of the situations that I run into is you get a quote from, I won't name a company, but let's say it's an 800 number company. You go ahead and buy the insurance, and there's an inspection. And the carriers have gotten a whole lot stricter on things like trees touching the roof, if the driveway is cracked. The biggest thing we see most of the time is that the roof needs to be replaced. So what I do is I go out and I look at the properties before you even get closed. And if I see any issues on the house that need to be rectified before you close, I'm going to let you know that up front. Versus, you close on the house, you got the insurance with this 1-800 number, and they want you to get all this stuff done, or they're going to cancel your policy. So that happened to one of my clients. He got a policy through Geico. Geico brokers out their homeowners insurance, and they need to do an inspection. This guy's a real busy guy. A lot of you guys probably know him, and they canceled his insurance. So he called me, and I actually could put it back where it was, but I got it all taken care of for him. And they send me the email of the requirements that are needed, and I help him get through that process. So just, be careful when you're dealing with some of these brokered companies, and y'all probably don't even know what that means, but there are a lot of independent agents who do write policies, and I do them as well. But the one thing that I do is I go out and I look at the properties to make sure that you don't have any issues once you close. And also, please, please, please don't forego the inspection report, because if you've got termites, don't call me. Insurance don't cover termites, so just so you know that. Any questions? Because like I said, insurance is the most boring subject on earth. The one thing that we want to be able to do is to make sure that you have the coverage you need. You want to make sure that you have extended replacement costs, which that is if we value your house at $200,000 and the house burns to the ground and the $200,000 is not enough to cover, that extended replacement cost is put on the policy so you won't have to come out of pocket. I see a lot of policies don't have wind coverage. Wind coverage is excluded. You do not want to have a policy that excludes wind. So if you have a storm, we have a lot of those storms that come through here. So if a storm comes through here, blows shingles off your roof, and you've got water damage, if your policy excludes wind, you're going to have to pay out of pocket to get your house back where it needs to be. Okay, Keys, you got a question? Okay, so homeowners insurance takes care of items that need repaired. So for example, shingles blown off the roof, you put the shingles back on through the homeowners insurance. House catches on fire, rebuild the house, that's through us. But if anything is due to maintenance, normal wear and tear, that's a home warranty. So if your air conditioner quits working, that's a home warranty. If right now I've got air conditioning that's not working, so I had to file, I have a home warranty. So anything that's due to normal wear and tear or just quits working, that's a home warranty. So I recommend, if the house is more than 10 years old, I recommend getting a home warranty. No relation at all. And the difference between homeowners insurance and home warranty, if you file too many claims on your homeowners insurance, they're going to not renew you. You can file a gazillion home warranty claims and they won't cancel you. Well, you got to have the insurance. You can't close without the insurance. You got to have the insurance. But well, it just depends on what it is. So if your water heater quits working, you got a leak on the water heater, if the microwave quits working, stove quits, anything quits operating, that's home warranty. But if you need something repaired, because let's say you have a claim and they decide that the reason for the claim is because of normal wear and tear, there's no coverage on the homeowner's policy. So I've got my clients trained. They call me first before they even file a claim. So, and I help them through that process. That's the benefit of having an agent. Yes. Flood is a totally different policy. You have to purchase it separately. And hopefully, you know, if the property is in a preferred flood zone, I mean, that's what you prefer, but the premiums are a lot lower. But if you're in one of the special hazard zones, the insurance can be quite pricey. But I have noticed that they've lowered the premiums. So one of my clients bought a property on Roanoke Avenue. It's like right on the beach. And last year the premium was $2,300, and it just renewed, and it's like $700 and something. So they've lowered the rates significantly on flood. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Yes. Farmers has a partnership with American Home Shield, so I can write those.
Nice.
Any other questions? So protection is the key. Insurance is pretty cut and dry, not a whole lot of conversation to be had. So if anybody has any questions, I've got my card and information in your bags.
Thank you, Ms. Iris Nance. And thank you to our knowledgeable guest here, because I did not know that you covered home warranties as well. So we're going to be doing that. All right. So, guys, we've talked about going through the home buying process. We talked about a down payment. We talked about protecting your assets. Now, let's get to closing on your home. All right. So we've discussed with you down payments. Now, there's also going to be closing costs. Okay, this is something you want to write down. In addition to down payments, you're going to have the 3 to 4% of the face value of the loan is going to be your closing costs. This is something else that your real estate agent is able to negotiate on your behalf for if you can't provide all of it yourself. Okay, so make sure you ask your agent about that. Me and Roger can definitely get that done. All right, now you've closed on your home. You got the keys. You're about to walk into it, and you're still probably a little bit worried. Now what? All right, so remember that your real estate agents, we are the source of the source. We are a team, but we also brought up our team of professionals to show you who can help you out. We also can connect you with lawyers, contractors, maintenance people, lawn guys. If you need absolutely anything, there's nobody in the home needs that I don't think I could find for you, okay?
So just make sure, my recommendations, if you go into a home, like Iris said, if it's 10 years or older, get a home warranty. Just my suggestion, if it's a renovated home, I would always suggest a home warranty. Even if it's fully renovated, brand new appliances, everything, just make sure you have your home warranty just to cover you, especially in that first year. Let's see, what else we got?
You want to make sure that you pay down your principal as quickly as possible. So Roger taught me this. I didn't always know this, but he said that if you pay $100 extra a month.
Well, if your mortgage is $1,200 and you pay an additional $100 a month for every single month for 12 months, you have one additional payment you pay towards your mortgage. That $100 has to go directly to principal, and then that 30-year mortgage will turn into a 23-year mortgage.
So just like that, you knocked off 7 years. So I want to say thank you guys for coming out, all right? Now we've gotten you your home. Once you do that, we want you to move in. We want you to paint the walls. We want you to throw a housewarming party and invite your favorite real estate agents, all right? We want you guys to turn up and enjoy turning that property from just another house into your home sweet home. All right, if you guys are interested in, real quick before we go, we got a game for you, and I got some prizes for you guys. All right, so this game is called Did You Know? It's kind of like The Price is Right, all right? Or not The Price is Right, but Jeopardy. So we'll ask a question like, who can make your home buying process less stressful? And you'll say, did you know that your realtor can make the home buying process less stressful? Or, what is one benefit of buying versus renting? And you'll respond with, did you know generational wealth is one of the benefits in buying versus renting? Okay, so now the next question is going to be, can you tell me one part of the home buying process? Oh, good. We need to give her a microphone. Yes, contestant in the front row. One part of the home buying process.
Did you know appraisals are part of the home buying process?
Did you know appraisals are part of the home buying process? There we go. There we go. Hey, Raj, give her his $25 Panera gift card.
There you go.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Did you know? Raj, you got a question for him?
During a home inspection, what do they check for?
What's one thing they would check for?
One thing they check for. He's one thing they check for.
Did you know they check for termites?
Did you know
Ding,
they
ding,
check
ding,
for
ding, ding. We got a
termites?
winner over
Ding,
here.
ding, ding. We got a winner.
We're winning everywhere.
Hey, we got a $25
you going to
AMC
movies.
gift card. Thank you for coming out,
Congratulations.
guys. Thank you for coming out. All right. We got two more questions. All right, guys. What credit score is preferred for the FHA loan?
Which one?
I had her in the back. She was first. I got another one.
Are you sure you got the answer?
Did you know a 620 credit score is preferred for FHA loans?
620 credit score is preferred. Is that
ding,
correct,
we got another
Christina?
one
That's
over here.
correct. All right.
Oh my God, what did she
Go
win?
ahead and give her that Panera gift card.
Got another Panera?
Nice. I
give
love
some
Panera
Panera.
too. That's one of my favorites. All right, another question. All right, what type of loan is a zero down loan? You got two options. Give me one of those two options.
Did you know VA?
VA is
VA
a
is
zero
it.
down loan.
Zero down.
Exactly. All right, guys. So that is the did you know. But we also have a couple gifts Iris Nance wanted to give out. So to some of the people who didn't, Miss Mia, let's make sure we get Mia an umbrella. Mia, she had on.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect. And then after this, guys, if you'd like to schedule a strategic consultation, this is a no-cost strategic consultation. This is an opportunity for you guys to just begin your march to more, start figuring out where you are in the process, and start to strategize about how we're going to get you there. Feel free to let us know. Give us your contact information. So we have told you a little bit about us. We're the Marching to More team. We've helped you in understanding how to manage your emotions. We've told you some of the benefits to buying versus renting.
Talk to you about down payment.
We talked to you about the home buying process. We talked to you about closing costs. We understand now that you've closed exactly what's going to be coming afterwards. All right. And then on the next slide, we have all of our contact information. So if you guys are interested in contacting Miss Christina Cicero of Atlantic Coast Mortgage, there we go. If you'd like to contact Miss Iris Nance from Farmers Insurance, feel free to take a shot of the screen. We have Dwayne Jenkins of Credit Quando. There's a lot of names, guys. And then, of course, we've got Donovan D. McFadden.
Roger Lee.
And we're the Marching to More team. We'll be with you from beginning to the end. And from that moment forward. Yeah, we done. We did it. We done.
That was good, bro. That was good.
Thank you, guys. Man, you want our dance moves too?
It was like a little flow.
Da-da-da.
It just comes out. How you want to do it? You want to do it again?
Thank you, guys. Hey, if you guys, we're done broadcasting. Nice. If you guys have any questions, feel free to come up to any one of us, ask us questions. If you guys just want to get out of here, we understand that as well.